Of
Of
course.
course. And we are joined today, Angel, by...
Yeah, after diving into the day's top headlines, we are now having a brunch break. And we are joined today by Jessica Cox, the world's first female armless pilot, motivational speaker, black belter, all in one.
You name it.
You name it.
You name it.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us, Jessica.
Good to be on.
Thank
How are
you.
you?
Good. Just, getting over jet lag, enjoying all the eating that I've been doing.
Welcome to the Philippines. Thank you very much for joining us. But let's get right to it. Your mother is a Filipina. Of course, we'd like to ask, what was your upbringing like? Did you grow up knowing more about your roots?
It was just like growing up in the Philippines, but in the U.S. Everything was, eating rice every day, and all of the traditions of the Filipino upbringing were instilled in us. And I say us because I have a brother and a sister, and together we all grew up that way and always had the traditions and went and just everything that they do here in the Philippines. So,
So I've seen a lot of pictures, videos of you, in an airplane, and yun nga, you were such a famous armless pilot. When did you decide that you want to become a pilot?
I was actually terrified of flying, but the Filipino spirit, keep going and don't be afraid.
Yes.
And my mom was an example for me that don't let anything hold you back.
Right.
And even though I was scared of losing contact with the ground, I wanted to conquer the fear. And here we are. I'm now a pilot.
How old were you when you had an inkling that you wanted to be a pilot?
Oh, it wasn't until I was in my 20s. So it wasn't anything like a childhood dream. I wanted to conquer all the labels of being called handicapped, and I didn't like that. And that's why I always say it's not politically correct to use those words.
Yeah.
But instead,
It should be differently abled, right?
yeah, well, every disability group has a different term for it. I know in the U.S. they say disability, but here in the Philippines, I like that it's PWD, person with disability, because you recognize the person first. Because after all, we're people first before the label.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course, I'd like to ask, of course, even for most people, it's difficult to be a pilot. And what were the challenges you faced? Were you encouraged more by your trainers? Was it a little bit more difficult?
It was definitely difficult because no one had ever done this before.
Yes.
But these are the stories I share when I speak to audiences all over the world.
Yes.
Is it was really about breaking it down into little steps. First of all, I had to convince an instructor. Then I had to figure out how to buckle the seatbelt and put on my headset and some of those physical things.
Yeah.
But if you break it down into smaller pieces, it made the overall intimidating task of flying a plane a lot more doable. And I have to say I appreciate my community of aviators, those who encouraged me, of course my family who was there all along, and to be able to do something that in my mind is even incredible.
Right.
Even now, after flying over 10 years, I'm still astonished by it. It's an incredible feat to fly a plane without any help in the sky, thousands of feet up, and be able to do that by myself in an unmodified airplane.
Exactly. You've done so many things more than an able body can do. And I was thinking, what's our excuse, right? But I was wondering, aside from being an armless pilot, you also have a title in black belt, in ATA martial arts rather, and you are also a motivational speaker. Right? You've traveled around the world for that, and I was wondering what led you down to go that road.
Well, actually, I was terrified of being in front of a lot of people. As a 6-year-old child,
Really?
I went into tap dance lessons, and my mom brought me there to kind of overcome my shyness. And I had a taste of the stage on my first dance recital, and I could not get enough. And it became this process of just getting on stage when I could, not to be ashamed of my difference, but to show the world that disability doesn't mean inability, and just doing more and more. And here I am in front of thousands of people. The largest audience I've spoken to is like 40,000 people.
Wow.
And
Wow.
but that was a virtual one during the pandemic. But I have spoken to large 8 to 10,000 arenas. And it has been such a gift, such a blessing to be able to show the world that if I can do this, what's holding anyone back from achieving their dreams?
So you've achieved so much through the years. Most of us have followed your story here in the Philippines. So we've seen all the things that you've been doing. What a lot of them are asking, what is now next for Jessica? What is the next thing you are going to conquer?
And I'm glad you asked the question, because I'm here also in hopes of getting supporters for the impossible airplane.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
Tell
Yes.
us more about it.
The first airplane in aviation history that we are building that can be flown with feet alone. It'll
okay.
be modified, unlike the plane I've been flying for over a decade, which is not modified.
Yes.
It's just a standard plane. This plane will be a four-seater, a modified airplane so that I can fly for longer distances, and one in which I can even come here to the Philippines.
So you fly
over the
yourself?
ocean. I would be able to fly and land here, and wouldn't that be the day?
Yeah.
Landing in Manila Airport.
Yeah.
So I read a lot about the impossible airplane. Just for context for people like me who don't know much about aviation,
Oh, yeah, yes.
I'd like to ask you, how long can you fly in a regular airplane as compared to you think in the impossible airplane will give you more hours?
I'm so glad you brought that question up because people are wondering probably what's the difference.
Yeah.
Well, the plane I've been flying for over a decade is a very limited plane, meaning I put my feet where most people have their hands on the controls.
Oh, okay, okay.
And because of the awkward positioning, I only fly about an hour and a half,
Yeah.
2 hours max, in a safe way without getting cramps,
Okay.
without my feet falling asleep on the, you
Yes,
know?
yes.
But now with this modified plane, by the engineers, it will allow me to keep my feet on the floor, and then with my feet on the floor, I can fly it for as long as the fuel will last.
And
in
be
the airplane.
comfortable as much as possible.
And be as comfortable for long endurance flying. It cruises, about 200 miles per hour. So what would that be here? And basically convert that. And,
Yes.
And so for me, it's going to mean a world of difference. It's going to allow me to fly children with disabilities in the back seat. So inspiring them, forever
Right.
changing their perception of what's
Yeah.
possible in their life. And it's going to be exciting. And we want to fly it over the Olympic Games in 2028.
I heard about that for the
Oh.
opening. But you know,
But where are you now in that project?
Well,
If your goal
we
is to fly
are-
it on the
Yes.
2028 Olympics.
It's an ambitious goal because
Yeah.
that's 4 years from now. So
Yes.
we all just enjoy the Olympic Games. We are still building it. We have the tail finished. The wings were manufactured right here
I
in
heard.
the Philippines.
And you came here to look for them? Did you?
I know the company, the Kit Airplane
Yeah.
company has a manufacturer.
Okay.
So they were sent to us in a crate on a ship. And so we have the wings, but now we have to finish the fuselage and the fuselage and also the modifications for it. And it's about, still about a year and a half, 2 years away from completion. And then once we do that, we have to test out the plane, make sure
Right.
it's safe, make sure the modifications are safe because these are the first of its kind.
Yes.
And then be able to fly it to different places. I have to get hours in that airplane.
Okay.
How much
able
will
to
this
fly.
cost?
Oh, this is ambitious. It's going to cost us. I calculated the dollars, but I need you to translate to pesos because it's
You will
about.
translate it.
Oh, you're the math
You,
guy.
yeah. Okay. You will convert it. Okay.
So 200,000 US is what the project
So
is.
around 12 million, right? 12 million. 12 million. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But what kind of an airplane is this? We're familiar with like Cessnas and other private
Yes.
jets. But what kind of an airplane will this be like?
So this airplane is going to be a four-seater. So similar to some Cessnas that you see.
Yeah.
They're little airports around here. They're all over the Philippines. So it has a low wing. So wings, single engine, and it will have 2 doors. And then you just hop into the airplane. And it has, like I said, we can take a max of 3 people. It'll be myself, 3.
And 3 other passengers. Yeah.
Yes, 3
Yeah.
others. Or for now, I'm going to use a safety pilot until I feel completely confident in the
Yes.
airplane. And we, fly for about 3.5, 4 hours until we need more fuel, land, and then do it again.
Yeah.
And I heard that one of your goals for this project as well is to encourage others as well to push through their passions. Do you encourage more to hopefully be a pilot like you? And would you be open to mass producing this kind of an
Yeah,
airplane for
impossible.
others?
Wow.
Because you've inspired so many. I'm sure out of that, a lot of them would like to be like you.
Well, ultimately, the goal and the why behind the project is to bring that message out that disability doesn't mean inability, encouraging others and also those who support those with disabilities
Yeah.
that they can accomplish great things.
Right.
And that's the
That's right, that's
ultimate
right, that's right.
message. And who knows? I think that's looking down definitely into the future of how we can make this even bigger than one airplane. It's the
Right.
message that we're
That's
taking
right, that's right.
as a flying billboard around the world and inspiring and encouraging that inclusion of people with disabilities, seeing
That's
that
right.
they have the same possibilities and definitely
Nothing
getting
is impossible.
nothing is impossible.
And maybe one day calling it, instead of impossible plane, it's
The possible
possible plane.
Exactly. Right now it's the impossible plane, but if you break down impossible, it's I'm
Possible.
Possible.
Oh, that's
Right,
nice. That's
that's
right. That's
right.
right. That's right.
But earlier you mentioned that you're here to look for support for your project. I was wondering, where will you get the funding? et
Yeah,
cetera?
are you in touch with several Filipino?
That's what we hope to do, and we know that this is representing the Filipino spirit around the world when we're finished. This project is huge, and it's going to need supporters. So we are reaching out to those who want to be involved in helping make this a reality. And so we do reach out. We would like to speak to all your listeners, and those are your viewers who may be interested in taking part, to go reach out to us through the impossibleairplane.com.
There you go. The impossibleairplane.com. That's how they can get in touch with you.
That's how they can get in
Okay,
touch.
okay.
Yes,
And all the information they need to know about the project and its goals is all there.
exactly.
Okay, okay.
You mentioned also earlier the support that you were given by your family, your friends, with all of the things that you have done, all the things that you have achieved. Maybe you can also give advice or message to all the parents out there who have children with disability.
Thank you for asking that, because obviously that is part of our mission, is to reach the parents. Because here in the Philippines, the family is everything, and parents are the voice
Right.
of those younger, powerless children who may not have a voice for themselves. So to all those, should I look at the camera here?
Yeah, there you go.
There's
There you
the
go.
camera. To all the parents here of children with disabilities, I want to encourage you to continue to support your children. Give them the tough love so that they can find their own independence. Empower them, but don't coddle them too much, because there's no telling what they can achieve when they're given the opportunity to find a way in their life how to succeed, to find their own independence, and continue to give them that affirmation and support and love that the wonderful Filipino families have here. And I feel so fortunate and blessed that my mother gave to me, now that I'm giving this to the rest of the world. So good luck, and continue to encourage them.
Yeah, very
Such
well said.
very inspiring, very well said, very inspiring as
Yeah.
always.
With that, we would like to thank you so much for joining us today. It's truly an honor
Yes.
that we have you here on our show, and we will see you again soon.
Hope so. Yes. Are you going to fly with me one day?
Yeah, I hope so. We could join you.
Yes.
Please join me in the plane when it's finished.
Thank you
Right.
very much. That was Jessica Cox, the world's first female armless pilot. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.